Laser sights will make you a more accurate and confident shooter by providing visual feedback on sight alignment and trigger control. Crimson Trace, making laser sight standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
The #1 national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
And happy Mother's Day, all the mothers out there. Oh, I guess I'll start this hour off with a story about my mom. Actually, one or two. Mom grew up as the only child of a doctor in South Carolina. Think Scarlett O'Hara. Never had to cook, never had to clean. She was taken care of. When she got married to my dad, who grew up poor, and he loved to hunt and fish, she didn't know how to do anything. I mean, nothing. He took her out dove hunting. Turned out she was a pretty good shot, wing shot. And he was showing her how to do all that. Then he had to go to the car for something. And while he's away, he hears, bang, bang, bang. I mean, she's shooting up a pretty good storm. When he gets back, she is so proud because she has had great success. And she had a nice little, we're hunting, of course, mourning doves. But she had a nice little pile of meadowlarks going there. Totally protected, of course. But she was good. I mean, when they flew by, man, she was whacking them. She didn't know the difference between doves and meadowlarks. Said, I got a bunch of doves, but they have these funny yellow breasts. Yeah, no, I don't think so. She ended up, on occasion, actually out shooting him on ducks, which was their favorite thing. They really liked that. But of all the things, she was really a great fisherwoman. She could outfish him. He was the world-famous fisherman. And on all the commercials and all the books that he wrote and Sports Field magazine and all of that. But time and time again, she would outfish him, which I think he always took great pride in. And so just a couple of thoughts. I know you have stories about your mom. Feel free to share them. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in right here. Let's see. Frank, line 4 out of Oklahoma. Hey, Frank.
Hello. Thank you, Tom. I was listening to some of your podcasts, and you happened to mention in one of them, the bad guys can shoot no matter what, but we have to pay attention to what we're doing. And I heard a report about a pilot being blinded with a laser pointer one time, and I clicked the other day, and I happened to think, is the laser? I'm a diehard 1911 shooter, and I use the Crimson Trace grip, red and green lasers on mine. And I was wondering, you're pinned down, you got people behind them, they got a hostage, whatever, and you don't have anything else. Is that laser good enough to temporarily blind them or give you a little bit advantage?
Well, two things. No, and doing so would be a bad idea tactically. If you can get the laser on somebody's eyes, you can pull the trigger. If somebody is worth shooting, then shoot them. And if they're not worth shooting, then don't be pointing the gun at them. Because when you point a laser at somebody, it's on the gun, you're pointing the gun at them. What's the rule? Don't point a gun at anything you're not willing to destroy. Right. So, okay. No. The other thing is, no, it's not powerful enough to blind them. And the lasers that are being used illegally to target aircraft, a lot of times are the types that are used in construction. They are 100 or 1,000 times more powerful than the lasers we have on our handguns. So, but yeah, don't think about. Here's the thing: it's a gun. It's always a gun. It's not a flashlight. It's not a laser device. It's a gun. If you're pointing it at somebody, there's a really good chance you're going to end up shooting them. So don't point at anybody you don't intend to shoot. It's really as simple as that. Keep it pointed down at a ready position or a safe direction or in a holster, until you absolutely have a reason to shoot. And then if you have a reason to shoot, here's a thought for you. You're in a mall or something. I've thought about this. And you think, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, my backstop. People are moving around, all that. Yeah, I got it. It could be, it's very likely that you won't have a clear shot. Then don't take a shot. But here's a thought for you. What if you drop down really low on your knee? And now the shot is angling up, and what's behind the target, another one of our 4 rules of safety, gun safety, what's behind the target is up above everybody's head. Man, that's involved, isn't it? Yeah. It's why we practice that stuff at the range. We get down on a knee. We get down on the ground. We shoot from our backs. We shoot from our sides. We roll over on the other side. We shoot over our heads, laying down and shoot back behind us, leaning way back. We do all kinds of stuff like that. Being in the middle of a gunfight or an active killer situation is not the time to try to develop skills. We need to have done that at the range so we can go to and use those skills. All right, here's a story for you. And thanks for the call. Lasers. You've seen our Guns and Gear television show where we review products, we show products, we do all this stuff in the studio, then we go out to the range. Another TV show was created that is quite similar, shall we say. We're not involved with it. Our show, we just get on, we have people in, and I talk to them, just like what I'm doing right here. Hey, tell me about this. What is that? But this other show, they actually write scripts for everybody. I'm not a real fan of scripted stuff like this. But a couple of years ago, one of the laser makers said, yeah, we were going over there, and they gave us our script that we have to use. And one of the questions for the host, who was not a gun person, was this. Asking about the lasers. These are weapon-mounted lasers. And the question was, are your lasers eye safe? In other words, if you point them at somebody's eye or your own eye, will it be safe? Clearly, whoever was writing that script missed the basic concept, which is this is a weapon-mounted light. So if you are pointing it at someone, the fact whether the laser is eye safe is really not the issue, is it? You're pointing a gun at someone. This is what happens when you get people doing TV shows, writing scripts, and they don't really know guns. So our friend in the laser business told him, no, we're not saying that. And he basically rewrote the script for him and helped them out, thank goodness. Holy smoke. 866-TALK-GUN. Happy Mother's Day. Got any stories about hunting or shooting with your mom? You take her out to go to the range? Give us a holler. 866-TALK-GUN.
Here at SilencerShop.com, we normally focus on making the world a quieter place. Not today. Rule 41F takes effect soon, making silencer ownership more complicated. The good news is SilencerShop.com can help, but don't delay. Purchase any in-stock silencer by July 6th, and Silencer Shop guarantees to get your Form 4 submitted and execute your transfer before deadline under current rules, or give you $100. The Powered by Silencer Shop guarantee. Details and restrictions at SilencerShop.com.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
Crimson Trace announces Laser Guard Pro, designed for today's most popular concealed carry firearms, combining a red or green laser sight with 150 lumen light and featuring instinctive activation. Laser Guard Pro takes personal defense to the next level. Available now for the Smith & Wesson Shield. Visit crimsontrace.com to find a dealer near you and to learn more about why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
All right, back with you. 866 Talk Gun gets you in here. I have an email. Actually, this is actually for Michelle. Michelle Cleveland, our call screener. We'll actually get to this during the after show. We'll have to do this. But a guy was wanting to know if Michelle would help him pick out, or help his wife pick out a pistol. So he's actually going to go to Toledo, Ohio with his wife and have Michelle in her store pick out a gun. I love it. We'll talk about that one during the after show. By the way, if you have not heard the after show, shame on you. You are missing out on tons of fun. What you need to do is download the Gun Dealio app. It's free. It goes on your smartphone, either Android or iOS, that as in Apple, iPhone. And then you can listen to any shows you miss, Gun Talk radio shows, including you could get the after show that way. So why would you not be wanting to save money? You got to save money with Gun Dealio. Find the deals. We call it Trigger the Deals. So just go to gundealio.com or go to I think it's Google Play and the App Store for the iPhone, and you can download Gun Dealio. That will do that for you. Oh, yeah, by the way, you know that American Marksman competition still is going on. It's a live fire qualification for national competition. The winner is going to take away $50,000, and you can go to the website and register, find a place to go shoot locally, and see if you can qualify. It's ammarksman.com. That's ammarksman.com. There you go. All right, William, Reno, Nevada, line 2. Hey, William, what are you looking at buying here?
Well, I'm looking for a Walther PPQ. The problem for me, Tom, is they have 2 models, and they have different barrels. One is polygonal rifling, and the other one is traditional. I'm just wondering, which one would you think is better for concealed carry?
Well, that's like worrying about the thread count on the screws that hold on the grip.
Okay.
That's how much difference it makes. It is absolutely inconsequential. There are people who think that polygonal rifling is the cat's pajamas, and then there are those of us who don't pay any attention to it. Some say, well, you get less fouling. Really? Is it that big of a deal to clean a barrel? It's just not. By the way, polygonal rifling, and that's the way you had it right the first time, it's like, 150 years old at least. And it's you don't cut grooves into the barrel. You got kind of weird, flats on the inside of the barrel. You can't tell from the outside. It's just the way that the rifling, if you will, the bullet spin gets imparted. But for heaven's sakes, just pick something. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it matters at all. I would, spend my time worried about something else. I don't know if that helps you, but at least it removes the issue. You cannot make a bad decision. How's that? That's a good thing, right?
Okay, right, but you've made it easier simply because there's another variation on the 2 models, and it's the magazine release. I've got an HK, and I've really come to like that, I don't know what you call it, a paddle rather than the button. And right. But the 2 models, the M1 or the original one, comes with a traditional rifling and the, let's call it paddle magazine release. And the M2 now comes with polygonal and a button release. So I think I'm going to go with the M1.
There you go. See, we just made it easy. Well, and that's a very nice pistol. You're going to enjoy the heck out of that thing. They shoot really well. Hey, William, thanks for calling. I appreciate that. Let's go talk to Carter. He's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And Carter's on line 1. Hey, Carter.
Hey, Tom. Got a question for you.
You bet.
Looking at a Colt 1911 Commander model, 9mm. When I grab the frame with my right hand and grab the slide with my left hand and kind of shake, or, there's a little bit of play there. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but, every Springfield or timber I've ever touched, there was no play at all. I'm just wondering if I should stay away from it or what.
I wouldn't. In the old days, we would pick up a 1911, make sure it was empty, and then shake it. If it didn't rattle, we had to have it fixed because we wanted them to rattle, because that was the only way we could get reliability out of them. If somebody tightened them up too much, they wouldn't be reliable. Now, that's not the case now. Now we have tight guns that are reliable, but a little bit of play it's not like, it doesn't feel like the slide's going to come off or anything, does it?
No, it's not that much, but
I would not worry about it. If that's the pistol that you want, if you say, Ben, I love it, that is a Colt, it's a 1911, it's a Commander, that's the one I want, just get it. Don't worry about it. It's going to shoot great. It's going to do everything you want it to do. What's happened is that these days they can make guns tighter and they're still reliable because the precision is so much higher. When we were in the Smith & Wesson factory, Paul Pluff was explaining it to me. He said, look, it used to be the guy at the end of the assembly line had to have a file and a polishing stone and work on them. And basically every gun had to be kind of fitted, and that's how it worked. And so we tended to make them loose so that they all would function well because, it required so much handwork. Now with the CNC machinery, it's not like it's like 10 times better or 100 times better. The tolerances, you could argue that they're like 1,000 times better. Well, case in point, if you have an old Smith & Wesson revolver and for whatever reason you need a new side plate for it, they have to have the gun, have somebody make it for you and work with a file and work with a polishing stone and all of that to get it to fit just right. If you have a newer Smith & Wesson revolver and you need a side plate for it, they can send you one. Because the modern machinery they use now, they can make guns infinitely faster than they used to be able to make them, and they are absolutely repeatable and so precise that you just don't have to worry about it anymore. It's a very cool situation. They're making more guns. They're holding down the prices on the guns because they can make them so fast, and we're getting better product. It's an amazing situation. I had an interesting conversation with Rob Latham. We were talking about 1911s. And Rob Latham, of course, is the world champion shooter, works with Springfield Armory. And we were talking about, I don't know what you call it exactly. I try not to use a pejorative term, but basically people who've grown up with polymer guns, they just don't understand the 1911. And in fact, there are even people on the internet, supposed trainers, and they're just badmouth the 1911 at every turn. You go, you guys just don't know what you're talking about. You really don't understand what this gun is all about. A good 1911 is absolutely reliable. It shoots like a house of fire. They have great triggers, and that's the thing. The best polymer pistol will have an okay trigger, a good trigger even, for a polymer gun. But they can't make one that's going to have a trigger like a good 1911. And for real shooters who really know guns, there's just nothing like that. So it always amuses me when I hear somebody say, oh, yeah, those old-fashioned guns, 1911s. I wouldn't trust my life to that. Yeah, really? Okay. Sure. I get it. I want to say, well, you just don't know how to run one, and that may or may not be true. But when I hear somebody say that, what I do believe is that you don't really know what you're talking about, or you're repeating internet nonsense, or you're an internet dude trying to make a name for yourself by bad-mouthing what knowledgeable people know to be a solid platform. There's a lot of the prima donna look-at-me stuff going on out there these days with internet guys. John's in Roswell, New Mexico. He's on line 4. Hey, John.
Hey, Tom. How are you doing?
I am good, thank you.
Before I get to my comment, I just wanted to let you know that I knew your dad very well. Not very well, but pretty well. I used to live in Natchitoches, and I worked at the fish hatchery there.
Well, I mean, son of a gun. That's the national the fish. That's a great facility there. How long were you there?
I was there for 2 years, almost to the day, and it was in the late 70s. That's when your dad was working the Ducks Unlimited banquets.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate enough to meet him there and spend some time with him.
Well, that is terrific. Yeah, it's we always used to love going over to the fish hatchery, take the kids over, and everybody got to see all of that. And, of course, we were lucky enough that if we got really lucky, you guys would dump some of those big fish into Cane River. We'd go catch them.
Boy, I'll tell you, I miss fishing at Cane River.
What a beautiful little body of water. It really is.
It really is.
How can I help you today?
Well, I was calling. I've got a comment. Last week, that guy that called in, I know you don't like to use the word liberal or whatever, but the one that was a little bit misinformed about 571, who had the 2M1s and was ready to vote for a bill that was going to eliminate his own guns. and I'm really concerned. I've thought about that all week, and I'm kind of concerned. You usually have to worry about the people that really want to take our guns away from us to lose our rights, but I'm seeing more and more where gun owners that are just uninformed or don't pay attention to what's going on are not paying attention, and I think that might be the reason we end up losing our gun rights. I read that.
I think you're onto something here. I think what we have is a situation where a ton of gun owners are not informed, they're not paying attention, they're going about their day-to-day activities, and they're getting their information about gun rights and gun laws from CNN and MSNBC and even Fox News, who gets it wrong about 80% of the time. And they're not staying truly informed, and they're not reading their magazines from the NRA. I'm assuming they're NRA members. If they're not, I mean, where else are you going to get your information if you don't do your own research?
Gun Talk encourages you to support the local sporting goods store, gun stores, ATV dealers, and other local businesses in your area who advertise on this station and Gun Talk. Only together can we protect our rights. You're listening to Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
Here's one question for you. Have you heard about this? Let's see. Russell on Facebook sends us a note. Says, hey, apparently Walmart has a new policy prohibiting the sale of ammo after 10 p.m. Don't know about that one. Do you know? It says they used to have that policy for guns, and then they install alarms on their cases, and now there's no access to the guns after 10. Anybody hear anything about Walmart limiting or actually prohibiting sale of guns or ammo after 10 p.m.? 866-TALK-GUN. Just dial me at Tom Talk Gun. It's easier to do it that way. Derek's in Madison, North Carolina. Line 1. Hey, Derek.
Hi. Yes, I was calling about you talking earlier, shooting a 300 Blackout SBR suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, I'm actually waiting on paperwork for a suppressor. And in the meantime, I was looking at buying a upper for my AR. And I'm just curious if you had any experience with a 16-inch barrel, so I don't have to worry about the NFA stuff as opposed to the SBR.
Sure. Yeah, no, 16-inch works just fine, and it'll be very quiet. I think, as I remember one of the ammo companies telling me that, particularly with the subsonic loads in the Blackout, the powder is pretty much burned up long before it gets to 16 inches. So it will be quite quiet for you if you're shooting suppressed with subsonic ammo. By the way, I just got a note from Bill. He says, hey, you need to get your terminology right. He says, you've been saying hypersonic. Hypersonic means faster than Mach 5. And so what you're really talking about is supersonic. So it's faster than the speed of sound, but below Mach 5. And Bill is absolutely correct. We do not have scramjets on our bullets, so they're not going that fast. So I got that figured out. The other thing about the 16-inch barrel, though, Derek, is that you're going to, with the lighter bullets, Barnes makes a really good load. I think it's 110 or 150 grain bullet. It's a 300-yard gun. It's a really good deer killer out to 300 yards. So you're going to be able to take advantage of that velocity. Now, it's not subsonic, so it's not going to be absolutely as quiet, but it still will benefit from the use of a suppressor. So I would go for it. I think a 16-inch, would be just fine in a blackout.
Okay, well, that sounds like. I did notice the one I'm looking at doesn't say it shouldn't use subsonic, but that's not a big issue, I guess.
What's that now?
So there was one I was looking at while we were on the shows. It actually recommends not using subsonic for cycling issues. But there is that issue, and I know some people kind of prefer a piston gun for their blackouts because they can adjust the gas port and get it to cycle, because there's a difference between whether you're using suppressed and not suppressed and what the back pressure is and cycling and all of that. But about the only thing you can do is just give it a try. Look, I appreciate the call, Derek. Let me drop down to James, line 4, out of Mountain Home, Arkansas. Hey, James, you're up.
Hey, Tom, how you doing? The 1911s were built with institutional slop. The reason for that was so the mud and such would not get in the rails and lock up the gun like the Luger did.
Yep, exactly. Now, that was for the original military design. They wanted to be rattling and loose because reliability was much more important than accuracy, right?
Yes, sir. If it didn't sound like a maraca, it was time to get another pistol.
It sounds to me like you got some experience with those.
Yes, sir. I was an armorer with the military, so we kind of dealt with all those. Like the Germans finally learned after they had those jams with that knuckle duster Luger. That's when they built the P-38. Same theory. Loose, rattles, institutional
it keeps
slop.
Working. Institutional slop. That is a great term, James. I appreciate that one. I'm definitely borrowing that one. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the call. Institutional slop. The Luger is so finely made. It's a beautiful piece of work. It is like a bank vault. All the tolerances are really, really tight. And you drop it in the mud, and it stops working. The original 1911 that our military put out, you could dump it in mud and sand and gunk and everything else, and it would just keep on running because, the stuff would just flow out of it. The tolerances were so wide. And then that created an interesting kind of a business, really, of people who accurized 1911s. And then they would do things like squeeze the frame to get the rails tighter, which is not the approved method of doing that. They would peen rails to try to reduce the slop. And then they would get to where the slide really wouldn't work back and forth. And the gun was completely unreliable. And then they would put abrasive on there and work that slide back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, basically just wearing it in to where it was very tight, but it was still slick and smooth. And that's why accurized guns cost so much in the old days, because there was an awful lot of handwork in them. And that's how you got these great competition guns in the old days, because you had to pay somebody to go do all that. Now you walk up, you pay your money at the store, and you walk out with one that is at least as accurate or more accurate than the match guns of 40 years ago. And all you have to do is just put ammo in it and go shoot it. It's quite amazing how good they are. Frankly, the truth of it is we have never had guns that are as good as they are today. It really is that simple. All right, still looking for your thoughts, your stories about mothers, guns, shooting, and also looking for an answer to that question. Do you know have you experienced it or heard, has Walmart changed its policy about selling ammo after 10 o'clock? I just would be very curious as to what's behind that. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN, and we'll be right back.
Alien Gear Holsters, the most comfortable and concealable holsters on the planet, is offering big savings with our new 2-holster combo. Now you can buy 2 complete holsters for as little as $49.88. Choose from any available holster styles and colors for the guns of your choice. All of Alien Gear's quality products are made right here in the USA and include a 30-day trial, forever warranty, and free shell trades for life. Visit aliengearholsters.com today.
No matter what gun you have, you want it to hit harder, shoot faster and flatter, and be more accurate. You get all that with the ammunition from Double Tap. Double Tap's experts select the best bullets, then load them to higher velocities while keeping safe pressures. Shoot small groups. Shoot farther. Use custom hunting loads in your handgun or rifle. Even fire 2 projectiles with 1 shot. DoubleTapAmmo.com. That's DoubleTapAmmo.com.
If you're like me, you don't have money to burn, but you still want to buy guns, ammo, and accessories. That's why we created Gun Dealio. That's a free, yes, a free smartphone app. Just download it and start getting the deals. Could be discounts, offers of free magazines for your gun, or you could be the first to hear about new stuff from gun makers. Here's how it works. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you get alerts when you enter a gun store. Special deals, you know. You don't have to do a thing. It'll do a lot of other cool things, like let you watch gun videos and listen to Gun Talk podcast. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Getting more while spending less. Smart, huh? Gun Dealio. Made in America. Gluten-free. At the App Store and Google Play or GunDealio.com.
The Ruger LCRX is a variation of the LCR that features an external hammer, allowing it to be fired in single action mode. The LCRX can also be fired in double action mode. It features a monolithic frame made from aerospace grade 7000 series aluminum, a patented Ruger friction reducing cam that results in a smooth, non-stacking trigger pull, and a patent-pending polymer fire control housing that significantly reduces weight and helps reduce recoil. The Ruger LCRX Revolver, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Back with you, 866 Talk Gun. Just got a, let's see. That's Tim just sent me an email. I want to know about a replacement trigger for his Glocks. Apex Tactical Solutions. Apex Tactical Solutions. That's the website is apextactical.com. They have replacement triggers. There's also an outfit called Glock Triggers. There are several outfits out there that you want to replace those. Or you could just get 1911. Yes. I do like to stir the pot a little bit. Why not? We will do that. Triggers. I got to shoot the SIG P320 on Friday, working at the SIG Academy. Very nice pistol. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I like it. I guess it's like just one step better than the 250, which was a good pistol. The 320 is really nice. And then even with that, then you have people like Bruce Gray doing trigger enhancements and modifications on them to make them even better. Have you not ever shot a 1911? Just curious. I know there have to be a lot of people who shoot pistols who probably grew up with the plastic guns and the Glocks and the rest. Probably never shot a 1911. Don't really understand what I'm talking about. It's such a sensual feel thing that it's hard to describe. But boy, when you go try one, you go, oh, that's what you're talking about. That's pretty cool. Let's talk to Monty in North Dakota. He's on 2. Hey, Monty.
Hello, sir. I just started thinking about your Mother's Day stories, and my mother came home from Colorado one year in deer season, and when I was a kid, she used to go bird hunting with us as a family, and her whole family were hunters from going back to the settlers' days. And she just grabbed a deer rifle, and we went trucking up and down the hills of North Dakota, just hoping we could get one, but we never saw one that day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's still good stories, though, right?
Yeah, and it's just one of those positive memories you can have with a mother. She knew that hunting deer would provide the most meat for me of the whole season, and that I was going to go hunting, and she wanted to be part of my life that day, so she was there.
There you go. Good stories. I have 2, or I can't remember, maybe 3 of my mom's guns. The first centerfire rifle I ever shot was my mom's rifle, custom-made .257 Roberts. Still have that one. It was my first Roberts. It's where I fell in love with that cartridge. Still do. Have 3 rifles chambered for the Roberts right now. And then I have a Model 12, Winchester Model 12 20 gauge that she had the stock cut way down. She was 5 feet zip. So when she had a stock cut down for her, it fit the kids really well. So we have that. But the one she really liked is she had a Winchester 101 over and under 20 gauge. And they come with about a little longer than 14-inch length of pull. It's a stock. And I think Dad cut it down to 13. And then when he was out of town, she took it to a gunsmith that had it cut down to 12 inches, a little bit short stock. And she could simply smoke some targets with that. She was awesome, which is one of those lessons of get the gun fitted to you. If you're a short-statured person or you need that, get the gun fitted to you, okay? Let's pick up Mark on line 1 out of Albuquerque. Mark, question, please.
Yeah, a couple questions. The primary one is about the subsonic loads you've been talking about.
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if you're referring to loads with the bullets like the Sierra Blitz or the Spear Gold Dot.
No, I'm talking about subsonic simply is about the velocity of a load. If it is going slower than 1,100 feet per second, which is the speed of sound, roughly, depending on altitude and temperature, then it is subsonic. And if it's going faster, then it's going to break the speed of sound. That's why you get that crack sound with a rifle. So it's really about the velocity. It's not the particular bullet or anything.
I understand the technical difference, but the Sierra Blitz and the Spear Gold Dot are both larger cavity, thinner walled hollow points for greater expansion at lower velocities. And I was just wondering if you were familiar with them.
Well, I'm familiar with them, but whether it's subsonic or hypersonic doesn't have anything to do with the bullet, I guess is what I'm saying. So you can push those faster than the speed of sound. You can shoot them slower than the speed of sound. But that really doesn't have anything to do with, and specifically, I guess maybe I didn't explain, when we're talking about either subsonic or supersonic, faster than the speed of sound, we're talking about loads that can be suppressed, which would be, you can suppress anything, but if it is subsonic, you can get it a lot quieter. If it's supersonic, it's going faster than the speed of sound, you're going to get that crack sound because that's the bullet going down range and breaking the sound barrier, and you're getting that pressure wave coming off of the bullet. You can't do anything about that with a suppressor because the suppressor captures the gases as they're coming out of the barrel, so it slows them, redirects them, and cools them down, and that's what makes it so much quieter. So if you ever get a chance to shoot a fixed breech gun, not a semi-automatic and not a revolver, but something where there are no gases coming out the back of the gun, and shoot a true subsonic load with a suppressor out of a gun like that, then you really start to understand how quiet a suppressor can be. Standard velocity, that is, again, subsonic velocity 22s out of a bolt action or trying to think what would work. A single shot pistol, if you could get that set up, would be stunningly quiet. Well, actually 9mm are that way. So just a lot of cool things you can do that way. And I have become such a huge believer in suppressors and silencers. It's just neighborly. I mean, you're shooting with one, and then the guys around you are shooting those loud guns. You're going, man, that's just, it's rude. That's what it is. It's just rude. The guys are making too much noise. I know. I'm just kidding you. But still, if you don't have one, you ought to look into it. Maybe one of these days we can get that stupid $200 tax removed because that makes no sense for an item that actually improves your health. let's go straight to the phones. Karen's with us out of Chorus, I think it is, California. Darn. Karen had to go somewhere else. Anyway, let's go to Tim on line 2 in Coos Bay, Oregon. Hey, Tim, what you looking for?
Well, I am about to buy my first handgun. I'm 77 years old, and I have arthritis in my hands, and I was just wondering if you had some recommendations or pointers.
Sure. Let's see, osteo or rheumatoid?
Osteo.
Okay. What's the gun for?
It'll be basically for home defense.
Okay. What's the extent of the arthritis? I mean, can you squeeze stuff? For instance, can you unscrew a cap on a jar?
Oh, sure. I still have good strength in my hands. It's just that a shock to the hands or something like that can be rather painful.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're really probably more concerned with the recoil than we are with the actual pulling the trigger or operating the gun.
Exactly.
Okay. That's actually not going to be difficult if it's a self-defense gun. I'm going to recommend one caliber, a .380 caliber, which is not to be confused with a .38 Special. It's called a .380 automatic.
Okay.
There are several gun makers who make mid-size. That's the important part. It's a mid-size semi-automatic pistol. There are a lot of makers that make little bitty guns in .380, little bitty carry guns, but you want something like a mid-size. Ruger has them. SIG has them. Others. Exactly. A little mass, a little something bigger for you to get your hands wrapped around.
I do have large hands.
Okay, that'll work just fine. Yeah, I mean, you could get a revolver. The Ruger 327 is good, but I really like the idea of putting you into a .380 because I think you're going to find it just is not going to kick very much at all. So I would say start shopping. Look around for a .380 that would be considered a mid-size. I think Ruger's is, what do they call that, an LC .380? I think it's what they call theirs. I cannot remember the model on the SIG. I'm just pulling a blank right now. But that's probably where I would send you. I think those are some of the easiest recoiling guns that are still useful for self-defense. Now, you could get a .22 rimfire, and look, anything is better than nothing, but I think a .380 would work. The other thing I'm going to suggest, Tim, and I don't know what your background is, but I would strongly urge you to go take a class, maybe, even if you don't plan on carrying it, maybe take a concealed carry class.
Yeah, well, that was my other question. Not being the most agile person in the world, what's a good training facility for handling the thing? And
there's a great facility, Coos Bay. Are you south? I'm trying to remember. Coos Bay is kind of southern Oregon, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. There's a great place north of Portland, though. It's called the Firearms Academy of Seattle. It's actually in Chehalis, Washington. That's a good place. But first thing for you to do is take the concealed carry class. And the reason for that is this. A concealed carry class with whomever is available to teach it around there will teach you a lot about the laws. It may teach you things about conflict, getting out of conflicts. It will teach you a number of the basic things that you need to understand about the legalities, the laws, when you can't, where you could carry, what you can do, those kind of things. So I would suggest you start with that. And then once you do that, then yeah, I like the idea of you taking a good class somewhere. All right, everybody, if you'd like to join us for the after show, call us right now at 866-TALK-GUN. In the meantime, call your mother. It's Mother's Day. And consider getting her a class, firearms class. In the meantime, be safe, call your friends, tell your mother that you love her, always.